Well, first off, for all of you haters out there, I want to say that I was indeed not wrong about my take on ICE yesterday. And I'll be covering that one. Meanwhile, we do live in very, very interesting times because Virginia's change and redistricting was shot down by their Supreme Court in the state. Additionally, three Republican states are looking to pick up seats as their redistricting maps are been approved by the courts. And I think the one that's being challenged right now is very much certain to be upheld because the Supreme Court has already ruled on these particular choices or things with regards to the Republicans, and I'll get into why that is. Also, in very interesting news, the UK had a sweep in their elections by their Reformed Conservative Party in the UK. So things are looking up, and it's a good note to end on, so to speak, for Friday. So let's go ahead and get into it. Welcome to The Ripple Effect. I'm Caleb, and we go through all of the headlines that I deem important, that are how they affect your life. And in return, we want to do something special. We don't want to just see what's affecting you, but we also want to have the knowledge so that we can affect things around us and impact things around us and create a ripple effect all in your life. Let's go ahead and get into it. So first off, I had a lot of differing opinions coming out now about the whole ICE thing. And I had some comments in my previous video, and I even had comments at home, so to speak, because when I mentioned that I had gone off on ICE with regards to the whole Disney cruise, people were saying, I'm not going to call anyone out particularly, but people were saying that I was getting too passionate about something that was a mistake. Well, here's what I'm going to lay out for you guys with regards to ICE. You see, I wasn't wrong because when I went passionately after ICE for the optics of what was going on, now that it is for a child corn ring, if we'll use that word so that the algorithm doesn't dislike this video, it doesn't change at all what happened. And I'll tell you why. So let me change the optics for you, shall we? ICE storms the Disney cruise liner and takes the chef off, right? That was the optics of the situation. Run on most major headlines. Let's flip the hat and let's say FBI storms Disney cruise. Well, then you'd have you questioning, what criminals are they trying to take down if the FBI is going after them? And this is a mistake of the administration, not just the mistake of ICE. And I know that it wasn't 100% ICE. It was customs, the CHP, whatever that group is, but still involves ICE. If we left the work that was required to the right agency, we wouldn't have this problem. This is my whole point of why the optics matter. Because here's my point. Again, if you had the FBI storming the Disney cruise ship, not a single one of these headlines coming out would be FBI storms cruise ship because they're wicked and horrible, terrible people, ripping out these people in front of the children. No, everyone would be saying, okay, what is the FBI doing? And very quickly it'd be said, because people would dive deeper, that it was about a child cornering. Now here is the crazy part. I didn't get my news on this topic from the left wing. I didn't. I got it from a conservative news source. So everyone was confused because they saw ICE doing this. I'm not wrong. And you know what's interesting? I asked AI, I said, how many of these networks are covering the retraction that it's not ICE doing an immigration enforcement, but rather taking care of child corn? None of the major networks. Now, if you find one, great, then AI is terrible. But here's my point. It was small outlets that no one is ever going to see, or like subsidiaries like local ABC. I think it was because it happened here in San Diego. It was like ABC San Diego covered it, but not ABC General. So the major story comes out nationwide over ICE taking, the chef and the staff off, and enrages lefties everywhere. And then the only retractions are in conservative media, which none of these people, none of these liberals will ever see, or small affiliate branches that only local people will see if they happen to be watching the TV at the time. I am not wrong. This is why you use the proper organization for this type of work. If you want to go storm a cruise ship and take out people that are doing child problem, stuff, corn, use the FBI. That's what it's there for. Because honestly, this is a major problem and should be a focus of the FBI. Should be. Like, I'm not saying that we should just ignore this problem, obviously. What I'm saying is the right department should be doing it and all hands on deck doing this so that the other organization, which is Immigrations and Custom Enforcement, can get back to immigration and custom enforcing. Please, believe me, I wouldn't want one agent taken away from deterring this problem, especially with as many Muslims as we're bringing into this country. I definitely don't want them to be neglecting this. Now, on a good note, let's go to the good note now. Virginia, its decision to disenfranchise 50% of the population, well, 49% of the population, got shot down by their state court. Not even, it didn't have to go to the Supreme Court of America. The state court shot this down, which is great. It's really, really good because just to give you an idea, it was going to go from a 6-5 split to a 10-1 split. Meaning, right now, it's 6 Democrats versus 5 Republicans. They redistrict to shut out those Republicans and make it a 10 Democrat to 1 Republican area. In a place that has 49% Republicans, if I remember correctly. Now, here's something that's interesting. I did look this up, and I was kind of interested in this whole thing. So Texas gains what we're expecting about 5 seats by redistricting. They've been held up in the Supreme Court to allow this because of the fact that they were doing it right and removing racially gerrymandered places from before. So the districts had been racially gerrymandered, and we're putting it back to how it should be by representation. And by doing that, it gained them 5 seats. That's why it was held up in the Supreme Court. Then Florida just signed a bill on May 4th that's expected to add 4 additional Republican seats. And Missouri, this is the one that just got signed by Mike Coey. I didn't know that was the governor's name. Interesting. I'm sure I'm saying that wrong. But that's going to get 1 more. So they're expecting to get about 9 more seats potentially. And even though they're getting some flack for it, and I think the Missouri one is trying to be held up in court, but it's like the group that's trying to do it too is was it the Southern Poverty Law Center? Like, it was like, you guys are in trouble already. Like, I wouldn't be poking your heads up at this point, but they're doing that. Now, here's something that I wanted to ask Perplexity, and I'm going to do one of those little fast things again while I do this. So edit and post. All right, so here's the stats. You ready for this? Maryland, the Democrats hold about 60% of the vote in the state, but hold 87% of the congressional seats. Illinois, Democrats have 50% of the state, a little over 50% of the statewide vote, but control 82% of the seats. California, they hold 82% of the delegation, which is like 43 out of 52 seats, but it doesn't tell me the representation. Losers. Whatever. But long story short is, I think I have it in my phone because I took a picture of this, but when I thought it was very, very interesting when they were talking about it, but there is a huge problem. Yes, here it is. So Massachusetts has 36% Republicans, 0 seats. Connecticut has 42% Republicans, 0 seats. Maine has 46. Is it Maine? I don't know how to read this. ME, whatever ME is. I'm horrible with this. ME has, whatever that is, hopefully you out there in the stuff know, 46% Republican representation and 0 seats. NM has, I'm not going to do this because this is embarrassing. Rhode Island has 42% Republicans and 0 seats. Vermont has 32% Republicans and 0 seats. Hawaii has 38% Republicans and 0 seats. And Delaware has 42% Republicans and 0 seats. That tells you everything you need to know about how, when these Democrats are freaking out, if we actually did proper apportionment for all of these different congressional seats, it would be overwhelming how many Republicans would be in the House. They're already massively, massively frauding these kind of things, as well as the monies, by the way. And I don't have time to get into the fraud that's been uncovered everywhere, and not even just the fraud, but then there is the Democrats shooting down any investigation into fraud. Why would you do that? They have no desire to look into any of the fraud. Now, that's taking me off my topics. I apologize. I was kind of trying to stay on focus a little bit here. But the whole point is it's looking up in the election for the midterms, hopefully. And if we can keep this going into, 2030, there's going to be a redistricting that should really move things around because of how many people have moved out of states like California. And there should be readjusting a lot of these congressional seats to more conservative states, because that's where everyone's going, because they're trying to flee the insanity of these lefty states. Now, the UK had a huge upturn on this election, where the Reformed Party in the UK, which is the conservative group, had a massive win. And this is having the lefties in just tears and on TikToks and everywhere crying as all of their rights are being taken away because conservatives took over, which, wow, that is definitely not what's happening, as in Scotland, a pastor was arrested for having a John 3:16 sermon just a little too close to an abortion clinic, and so he's arrested for that. No, I'm sure it's not. It's not the liberals that are the ones taking away people's rights. Absolutely not. As you know, there is no protecting yourself there whatsoever from all the hordes of Muslims running around raping people and, killing people and putting their Sharia law in every place. No, of course. It's basically like Londonistan, is what they call it now in London, because of all the Muslim immigrants that just get to come in and do whatever they want to, and the liberals are just supporting and helping. Of course, it's not the liberals that are the ones causing the troubles. It's the conservatives who happen to have the people. Yeah, the majority of people are now fed up and voting on their side. So yeah, it has nothing to do with that. Here's what I want you to understand. This is the impact in your life and how it can matter. Get out and help and work. Find your local people and push them and help them, and help in every local election you possibly can, because it matters and it makes a difference. Even in places like England, which no one thought there was even a chance of something like this happening, it can happen, and it can happen in a state near you if you're willing to work for it and do something here. In California, they're still fighting this whole redistricting in California. Hopefully they can do something about it. We're working on that. I'm thinking maybe. Let's see. I don't have enough subscribers, but I'd like to do an interview with one of our people, either Carlton Mayo or Daryl Issa, on the whole redistricting thing, and hear what's going to happen coming up in this election. It'd be very, very interesting to see. Now, one last thing. This is something I wanted to mention. And I had mentioned a while ago, and I kind of ranted, and I'm sure people didn't think I was all, on point necessarily. Some people probably didn't think, because I was getting a little upset with the conservatives and how we view these things like Spirit and so else collapsing. Companies view you as a commodity. And stuff needs to be done about this. And part of this is bringing it to light. Tennessee, and this is from Not the Beam, Tennessee Lending Company sues 110,000 customers who haven't paid back loans with 279.5% interest rates. I'll repeat that. They have 110,000 customers who they have sued now to make them pay back their loans when the interest rate is almost 300%. How is it ever allowed? And it gets worse. ProPublica says this: the Flex Loan, a new type of payday loan pioneered by Advanced Financial in Tennessee, allows residents to borrow up to $4,000 at basically 300%, so 279.5 interest rate. They're pioneering this? Is it something we want pioneered? Do we want people in our country under the thumb of every subscription model that anyone can put out? Of every single person and corporation who wants to take advantage of low-income people? Think about this. You're in a desperate place, and you take a payday loan because you need money desperately, and who knows what that reason's for. I don't know. I'm not going to judge. I'm not going to say I know what that is. And you think, and a lot of them will get you, if you pay in 90 days, it's no interest. After that, it'll be this crazy, insane interest. And I know what that's like. I've seen these. And you think, I can pay it back in the 90 days. And you hope you can pay it back in the 90 days. But if you don't, that interest begins to hit and you never can pay it back. You take a $4,000 loan and what, you're paying $12,000 by the time you finish? They get to make 300% off of you. And somehow that's legal. And not only legal, but it's being pioneered. We need to stop letting people, and I don't know how to. I honestly don't. If you have an idea, put it down in the comments. I'd love to have a video on it. But how do we get them to stop making us the commodity that needs to be nickel and dimed every time we turn around for every single tiny little thing? There's a channel I watch, and I thought it was hysterical because it's like a what is it called? I probably, they're not conservative in any way, shape, or form, but it's like they do a sketch comedy on games, like kind of like that thing. And they have the idea that they're a tech store, and they do videos in the tech store. And one of the things was that someone comes in and they go to browse the mouse collection, and the guy's like, whoa, you can't go there unless you pay the $9.99 fee a month to be a Battle Pass holder so you can go browse the mouses over in the mouse section. Oh, and then if you want to go over here, that's the premium ultra section. So then you have to pay another $10.99 a month. And the whole point is it was ridiculous. Obviously, if you want to go into a store and browse, fine. But we are in such a world state that you are a commodity that I'm seeing houses and places and these beautiful things going up. And I'm like, wow, finally they're building some stuff in our area where people can move in. It'd be so nice. There's 2 houses down in Oceanside, beautiful houses that had been sitting dormant for a long time, and someone came in to move them. I'm like, oh, that's so nice. People flipping those houses. They're going to make a good profit, sell those things. No, they want to rent them. They want to rent them because the goal in life in America right now is not to buy yourself a house and develop money that way. It's to buy a house so you can rent it out, so you can buy another house, so you can rent that out, so you can buy another house to rent out, and basically keep people renting and subscribing to you forever. Is that something we want? No. Put in the comments below. I'd be interested to hear. Hope you have a happy Friday, and do something in your local area that has an impact. If you don't know what to do, find your local conservative and ask them what to do. They'll let you know. I can't tell you exactly because every state's different, but look into it. Have a good day.